Welcome to your homework for the first weeks of your 6-month course. This should be about a 20-minute practice. We're beginning with the core refrain variation A. Below the heading essential practice is our primary tool. And remember, folks, it's better to use a tool than to be a tool. At least that's what Joe told me. I don't know what that means exactly. It kind of makes me blush, but good old Joe, that's what he says. So, on the in-breath, we're going to ask a rhetorical question. Joyce, what is a rhetorical question?
It's a question that doesn't have to be answered, but it's used for contemplation.
Perfect. 2 types of questions in this world, John. Hard-ass questions that require an answer. Lazy bastard questions that don't. And this is the lazy bastard path to enlightenment. Okay, so everyone should have a mala. If you don't have a mala, you can order one on the website or using the links that you'll find below the video. If you have a mala, Joyce, right now, you could count your mala upon your right little finger. If you don't have a mala, Joe, you can still touch your right little finger to your thumb and your left little finger to its thumb. So you're looking like little bunny foo-foo hopping through the just like that, because we're all dignified over here. All dignified all the time. That's what Tanya told you, wasn't it, John?
Something like that.
Okay, so in the in-breath, we ask the rhetorical question, what is it that I'm noticing right now? But that's too many syllables, so we're going to truncate it to 3 syllables. What notice? And you know that these silent meditations are the deep, dark valley where good grammar goes to die. So on the in-breath, we're going to ask silently and mentally, what notice? On the out-breath, to the best of our ability, we're going to try to relax. Now, here's the irony. On every in-breath, we tighten up a little. On every out-breath, we loosen up a little bit. So all we're doing now is using this mechanism which is already installed in our bodies in a more spiritually productive manner. So let's play with this right now. You notice as we look at this, there's contemplative notation. It reads in breath, and there's a colon, and then there's the phrase what notice. So obviously that's what you recite in your head during the in breath. The line below that, it reads out breath, colon, relaxing. Obviously that's what you recite in your head on the out breath. And all the way to the right, there's an X, an apostrophe, an S, and the number 3, which means, hey, do this 3 times. Super simple. Let's do that right now. What notice? Relaxing. Some people say, I can't memorize it that fast, I have to read it. The answer is great. Read the fuck out of it. That's awesome. Do reading meditation. That'll work. If you do reading meditation for an hour every morning and an hour every evening, you will accomplish enlightenment. You don't have to memorize that. Not all of us are as smart as Joyce or her dog. So, now we're going to explore interdependence from a visceral perspective. On the in-breath, we're going to ask, what's inside? On the out-breath, we're going to ask, what's outside? These are rhetorical questions. Our only job is to recite them in harmony with our breathing. Let's do that right now, 3 times. Now you may have noticed that there's nothing specific here. We're not saying, I'm going to notice this. We're just asking, what am I noticing? We're not saying, what's inside of this body or this house or this county or this neighborhood? being very vague, and that's inviting spontaneity. So not only are we cultivating the insight, we're cultivating the spontaneity of allowing our mind to go into a self-cleaning mode where it kicks up stuff. Some of it are beautiful and some of it is horrendous. But it kicks stuff up so we can dance with it and process it in this very simple, gentle manner. We scroll down to the next page. And we repeat the essential practice. It's called the essential practice because we do this the most. Within a month, you'll be able to do this in your sleep. What notice? Relaxing. And now we're going to explore impermanence in a non-intellectual, very visceral level. On the in-breath, we're going to ask, what's coming? And on the out-breath, what's going? Let's play with this right now. Remember, we don't answer these questions. We simply ask them and relax in harmony with our breathing. We now continue with the last essential practice of core variation A. What notice? Relaxing. And what I invite you to do, Joe, is scoot your tush to the edge of the couch so that you're using your core muscles to support your torso. It makes it much tougher to fall asleep during meditation. Eyes open. It can be very tempting to start philosophizing and talking, affirming this insight choice, and we don't want to do that. We just want to ask the question and relax. If you catch yourself, when we catch ourselves, and it's not an if, but when, trying to answer the questions, we're losing the practice. Practice is to ask and relax and let the subconscious do the heavy lifting. If you're an old fart like me and Joe, let the Hertz do the driving. Or is it Greyhound? Let the Greyhound do the driving. I forgot.
Greyhound.
Okay. So now we're getting to the chorus, which is the body's breathing. And the first thing we see in blue is the phrase anapanasati. And anapana means breathing, and sati means mindfulness. So you put it together, you get mindfulness of breathing. Below that, we read the concise discourse on the mindfulness of breathing, the Anapanasati Sutta. Below that, the middling, the discourse on the four bases of mindfulness, the Satipatthana Sutta. Below that, we read extensive, the greater discourse on the four bases of mindfulness, Maha Satipatthana Sutta. Now, I'm a lazy bastard, and I think all of you probably are as well. When I first found that there was a short one, I thought, that's the one for me. And I found it to be so concise and so cryptic, it was useless. And so I only teach the extensive version of this text, the one I've given you today. It may seem ungainly, but I promise you, in the long run, it's the easiest one to use. So we scroll down, we come to the phrase, physical bliss of the first meditative jhana. So we come to the first exercise, and it's rhetorical. How deep breath? Relaxing. So this is not a deep breathing exercising. We're not saying, I'm breathing deeply, this is my affirmation. No, it's a question. How deeply am I breathing? We're using a conservation. So how deep breath? Relaxing. Let's play with this now. we come to the mind-blowing exercise, where feel breaths, subtle bliss. So we're taking one question and dividing it into between the in-breath and the out-breath. That's not the mind-blowing thing. Mind-blowing thing is the word bliss. Well, there's many types of bliss. There's very coarse bliss, there's bliss, there's subtle bliss, and there's very subtle bliss. So if very coarse bliss is a thunderous orgasm, we're going to do very subtle bliss. And all subtle bliss means is that it's physically pleasurable. That's it. So many times we put this big, burden on our shoulders. I've got to feel rapturous bliss that translates me into heaven. No, you just have to feel something that doesn't suck in a bad way. So where would you feel breath? So let's do this right now for 3 breaths. Where feel breaths, subtle bliss? Well, that's a very good question. Even though it's a rhetorical question, it's still a good question. Where would we feel breath, subtle bliss? And the answer is another question. What do we breathe it with? Well, we breathe with our nose. We breathe with our sinuses. We breathe with our trachea. We breathe with our lungs. We breathe with our intercostal muscles, the muscles between our ribs. We breathe with our diaphragm, the muscle at the edge or bottom end of our rib cage. So all these tissues are articulating and being accessed when we breathe. So where do we feel breath, subtle bliss? In any of those areas I just mentioned. So now that we know that we're looking for a subtly pleasant sensation in any of the tissues involved in breathing, let's play with this exercise again. How deep breath, relaxing. Oh, there are so many poop heads out there who say, when life sucks, hide from the suckiness in the bliss of breathing. Which Buddha never said. He said, when you breathe, notice your breathing. If you're noticing your breathing, spontaneously work with it. If you notice there's bliss when you're breathing, work with that. So we're just learning. Right now we're doing exercises. This is like push-ups for our mindfulness. We're noticing things that we've professionally taken for granted the majority of our lives, the majority of our day. And what will happen is we're going to develop the annoying habit of seeing how much richer our life always was. And we continue with the third exercise, which is really just the first exercise repeated. How deep breath, relaxing. Keep a journal with you when you do these exercises. Questions will come up. Jot them down so you can either send them to me as an email or so that you can ask them during next week's class. So please either count your mala upon your right ring finger, or if you don't have a mala, simply touch your right ring finger to its thumb and your left ring finger to its thumb. And yes, you may hear the little bunny foo-foo song in the back of your head. So the second set is the emotional joy of the second meditative jhana. Jhana just means level. And it's funny, there's so many folks wandering around thinking that jhanas are these mystical things that mean you're spiritual. No, they're not. The longer you sit in meditation, the deeper you go. It's no big deal. So these are jhana hacks. So once again, we're touching each ring finger to its thumb. In a future lesson, we'll explore the significance of each of these finger gestures, but not right now. No need to overwhelm you and make your heads explode. So, 2 of 4, the emotional joy of the second meditative jhana. So we're going to play with the 3 exercises of the threefold smile. On the in-breath, so we're taking one statement and we're dividing it between the in-breath and the out-breath. On the in-breath, we silently and mentally recite, grin with lips, and on the out-breath, to this breath. What does that mean? It doesn't matter what it means. Just recite it in harmony with the breathing and everything will take care of itself. I'm so confident of that I will stake Joyce's reputation upon it. Grin with breath. Grin with lips to this breath. One of my teachers said, a smile is not a smile unless it begins at the corners of your mouth, passes through the apples of your cheeks, and perches upon the crow's feet of one's eyes. That's exactly what we're going to do right now. Grin with cheeks to this breath. And thirdly, grin with eyes to this breath. And we scroll down. Faces, subtle joy. Where feel faces, subtle joy. We just looked at like the 2 corners of the mouth, 2 apples of the cheek, and 2 crow's feet of the eyes. We now have 6 points to find joy. So, where feel faces, subtle joy. We aren't miserable because we're failing to smile enough. We're miserable because life happens. We live in an interdependent universe where stuff affects us. When we do feel miserable, we don't hide from the misery by smiling at it. We do a special meditation where we notice it and relax into it. So this exercise is not an end run around reality. This is a way of strengthening our mindfulness like going to the gym. This is the spiritual gym. And now we're going to do, we already did the threefold breath. Now we're going to do the simple breath. Grin to breath, relaxing. So we've just done 6 exercises of the verse. And typically we do 5 or 6 or 7 exercises from the verse. Then we go back and do the core. And so for the first 20 minutes, we're alternating between core practice and verse practice. It just works out that way. So we scroll down, and look, it's core practice variation B. And look, it's Joe's favorite exercise, the essential practice. What notice? Relaxing.
You change fingers again?
Nope, I'll tell you when. You don't have to ask. How could this not be independent? So we're taking a question and dividing it between the in-breath and the out-breath. Give a kid some dominoes. What will they do? They will find a flat surface, stack those dominoes on their edge, knock the first one over, and watch in glee as the chain reaction occurs. A kid knows about interdependence. Adults forget about it. We scroll down to the next essential practice. What notice? Relaxing. Again, we're going to take a question and divide it in two, between the in-breath and the out-breath. How could this not be permanent? This is not a question of blind faith. This is not a question of dogma. Walk outside and nature will tell you about interdependence. The coming and going of the seasons, we see the impermanence of a year. With the waxing and the waning of the moon, we see the impermanence of the month. With the rising and the setting of the sun, we see the impermanence of a day. And right now, Joyce, you can rest your hand upon your upper chest. You can feel it swell. You can feel it sink. And you can see the impermanence of a moment.
He's going after my cat.
And that is why it is written, ever-changing, one and all, there is nothing permanent to grasp. Not as a dogma, but as an observation that anyone can make. We continue with the final essential practice of this set. What notice? Relaxing. And now, if you have a mala, you're going to count that with your right middle finger, the finger you use to express yourself on the freeway. If you don't have a mala, just touch your right middle finger to its thumb and your left middle finger to its thumb. Molto bene. And let's continue. We're at the halfway mark for today's set of exercises. So you can tell during this session that this would use the energy. This would be a useful channel for the energy of our natural creativity, our natural playfulness. So then when we enter the second 20-minute session in future meditation sessions, we're more mellow, we're more relaxed. Let's continue. We continue with the breathing exercises, 3 of 4, the mental contentments, the third meditative jhana. So what we did before was an extensive breathing meditation. Now we're going to do a grinning meditation. So grin with lips to this body. And now grin with cheeks to this body. And now grin with eyes to this body. As kids, we spent time in the bathroom playing in the mirror with our faces. Who knew that could be spiritual? Where feels subtle contentment. By smiling to our breath, we felt joy. By smiling to our body, we can feel more contentment. It's weird, yet consistently observable. Let's try with this right now. We're going to take the question and divide it between the in-breath and the out-breath. Where it feels subtle, contentment. And remember, our goal is not to get good at feeling bliss or joy or contentment. Our goal is to get good at mindfulness. All these are just exercises like push-ups or deep knee bends or sit-ups before our subtle mind. And we continue with grin to body, relaxing. So John, you went away for a minute and you came back. Don't worry, anything you missed will be in the recording that you'll be able to work with tomorrow morning. Let's continue with the fourth set of 3 mindfulness of breathing exercises. How slow breath, relaxing. So our first exercise was how deep breath. Now we're asking how slow breath. We're not trying to slow it down. We're not trying to speed it up. We're not trying to contrive anything. We're just exploring with our mindfulness. How slow breath, relaxing. Where feels subtle tranquility. When I was a little boy, my sister played the piano, and I noticed that all the keys were there, whether they were played or not. Likewise, it can be said that in the human mind, it's quite conceivable that every emotion and sensation exists in potentiality. Sometimes they ripen, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they ripen, then they go away, and then they go from actuality back down to potentiality. So the question isn't, are we capable of feeling tranquility, or are we tranquil all the time? Just at this moment, can part of our subconscious find tranquility in one part of our body, or one part of our heart, or one part of our mind? We don't actually have to actively look for it. Just by asking this question in harmony with our breathing, we're dropping a program into the supercomputer of our subconscious and letting it do the work. Where it feels subtle, tranquility. And we conclude with the way we began, how slow breath, relaxing. We scroll down to core practice variation C. Again with the essential practice, what notice? Relaxing. So we know the idea of independence. And so here's the idea of, the question is, how could this be empty of anything independent to grasp? So we're just taking that question and dividing it in 2 between the in-breath and the out-breath. Simply, this is a more complex way of asking that which we explored not too many minutes ago. How could this not be independent? And we're just asking, how could this be empty of anything independent to grasp? And that might seem like a subtle difference, but it'll make more sense in future weeks. So let's play with this now. Scroll down to the third exercise of this set. What notice? Relaxing. We've come to the 3/4 mark of today's guided meditation. If you have a mala, please count it on your right index finger. If you don't have a mala, please touch your right index finger to your thumb. And please touch your left index finger to your thumb. Excellent. How could this be empty of anything permanent to grasp? There's plenty of temporary things to grasp. There's nothing permanent to grasp. And the fifth exercise of this set, what notice? Relaxing. We return to the verse section. We're not going to read this aloud. That would simply be an exercise in redundance. We're going to play with the general observation. So this is, once again, instead of playing with the body's breath, this time we're playing with the body's behavior. So what are we doing right now? Obviously sitting and meditating, but let's play with the question anyway. What doing? Relaxing. And then we scroll down and we have a multiple choice. How walking or standing or sitting or laying or whatever, but since right now we're sitting, that's bold. It's written in bold over there. So how sitting? Relaxing. And this might seem like a great big fat cosmic no duh, but it's still strengthening and sharpening our mindfulness. Grin to body, relaxing. Return to the core practice. What notice? Relaxing. And this time we're going to play with jealousy's antidote. How could this not be my possession? Remember, these are rhetorical questions. For it is in the asking and not the answering that wisdom is unlocked. What notice? Relaxing. Now we come to pride's antidote. How could this not be my identity? And now we come to the very last exercise of our 20-minute-ish exercise. What notice? Relaxing. This is not the end-all, be-all of meditation. This is getting comfortable with our first 20 minutes. In terms of a 40-minute meditation, the first 20 minutes serve only to prepare us for the second 20 minutes. So what will we do during our second 20 minutes? That's what we'll find out next week. So we've generated all this good karma by exercising our mindfulness and our insight and allowing for spontaneity. So we're going to direct this positive energy now through the next exercise. Let me play with the desktop for a second. And this exercise right here is going to be a chanting practice. The first time you'll do it, you'll feel horribly uncomfortable. By the end of the week, if you just follow along with me, it'll be much easier. We begin with the invocation of our inner Lama. What's our inner Lama? Our potential for centered spontaneity. We can go through life through two extremes, either by being contrived or scattered. Both are bad. A happy medium is centered spontaneity. So the purpose of the outer Lama is to just help you find your inner Lama. Hopefully in 6 months or less. So I'm going to use a triplet chant. That'll make more sense when you listen to it. The second couplet is simply the first noble truth of stress. Here we go. Amajo Lama, constant and perfect protector, who is the centered spontaneous mind, neither getting nor keeping the desired as well as enduring the disliked is universal. We'll explore the meaning of this in greater depth in a future lesson. Right now we're just guiding our positive energy. We continue. But we've explored the idea that dissatisfaction is universal. We're not the only ones who experience stress. And so we're laying the groundwork for compassion and love of others. We continue. Be it causes, conditions, components, or conceptions, independence is but an illusion. Ever-changing one and all, there is nothing permanent to grasp. Hey, that phrase should sound familiar. I might have referred to that in a rant. We continue. It is extremely important to make the most of these freedoms and opportunities we have received. Remembering this may my mind ever notice, relax and flow. What's our life's ambition? To master noticing, relaxing, and flowing. If we do that, everything else will take care of itself. I'm so confident of that I would stake John's reputation on it. Now we're going to do a different chant. We're going to do the bookend chant. You'll notice the first syllable and the second to the last syllable have accents, and this is why. May I accomplish great benefit spontaneously for each being. May I accomplish great benefit spontaneously for each being. Second breath. May I accomplish great benefit spontaneously for each being. May I accomplish great benefit spontaneously for each being. That's it. Nothing supernatural. We're just taking our energy and dedicating it towards wisdom and compassion and getting her done, as they say in Texas. I know all about Texas because I went there for half a week.
I wish I could free it.
So let's see. I'm going to stop the recording now.
Oh.
Well, I'm going to try to stop the recording now. That's not it. Let's go over here. There we go. Stop recording.